What's up, everybody, and welcome to ParaTruth Reborn. This is a pre-recorded show on 107.7 FM in New Orleans, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast, and United Public Radio Network. My name is Erik.
And I'm Justin.
This is our official Halloween episode. So I hope you guys are as excited as we are because, as you know, we love Halloween, and I'm sure you all do too. So we hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Make sure you grab a snack, your favorite drink, and let's dig in. But first, before taking that step, I do want to mention something here because Justin, I'm going to go ahead and change my color here again real quick. So those of you watching online, there's my phone and haha, magic. I just went from pale white to nice tan. But no. So this segment, you know what segment this is, right?
The Dark Origins of Halloween.
Let me rephrase that. You know what number segment this is, right?
52.
Which means this is our 1-year anniversary with EPRN.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Congratulations to us. Good job. We made it.
Yeah, we have 50 episodes with UPRN on the Simpson episode. So, yeah, Interesting.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, I think it's pretty awesome that our 1-year episode would happen to drop on Halloween, or for our Halloween episode anyway.
Right. As close to Halloween as we could get.
Right. So let's chat a little bit about Halloween, shall we? So Halloween is one of the most popular holidays around the world. Now, there's really no question about that. Maybe second, honestly, only to Christmas. But do you know its dark origins? Today, we will be discussing Samhain, a Gaelic festival, the influence of the church on the holiday, medieval superstitions, and why we trick or treat.
Now, we're starting with ancient Samhain because that's really where it originates from. We've discussed Samhain in the past, but what better way to understand part of the reason we celebrate Halloween than exploring some of its roots in the Samhain celebration?
Right. So, what is Samhain exactly? Well, it's a Gaelic festival on November 1st, marking the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter, or the quote-unquote darker half of the year. You even know what I mean.
You call it the dark times anyway.
I do call it the dark times, and not even for this reason. It is also the Irish and Scottish Gaelic name for November. Something I didn't know, actually. So celebrations begin on the evening of October 31st. And since the Gaelic day began and ended at sunset, now Samhain is believed to have Celtic pagan origins, and some Neolithic passage tombs in Great Britain and Ireland are alleged with the sunrise at the time of Samhain. As a festival for communing with the ancestors, however, it may predate the Celtic era. A number of stone circles and dolmens, including, for example, Avebury, exhibit a west-south-west alignment and the azimuth angle of the setting sun on October 31st.
Now, it's believed that the veil between this reality and the afterlife is at its thinnest during this time of year. Some of the traditions that were practiced during the festival were lighting bonfires, ritualistic sacrifice, and even wearing disguises to ward off spirits. The Druids played a key role in Samhain rituals by serving as spiritual leaders who guided community ceremonies, led bonfire lighting and fire transfer traditions, and practiced divination to foresee the coming year. They help protect the community from spirits by performing cleansing rites, bless people, cattle, and land, and ensure the community remained connected to the other world in a controlled manner, which is, I feel we need a little more controlled manner in this day and age, but we'll get there.
Right. So what happens after years and years of celebrating Samhain, but then suddenly another religion pops up. Well, the religion changes things, right? So the Catholic Church decided to repurpose the Celtic festival of Samhain by establishing All Saints' Day on November 1st to honor saints. And the evening before, All Hallows Eve, later known as Halloween, of course, as a time to remember the dead and prepare for the feast day. Now, the shift aimed to Christianize the existing practices, incorporating some of the supernatural symbolism and rituals of Samhain, such as warding off spirits and the belief in a thinning veil between worlds, and transforming them into a separate Christian-focused celebration. This, of course, also made it easier for new Christian converts who had previously practiced the Samhain tradition and find a similar practice among the new faith. And this is something that Christians actually did quite often every time they brought uh, the Christian belief and scriptures to a new land. They would learn what their practices were, what their beliefs were, and they'd start to adapt them into the Christian faith to make it easier for those transition. St. Patrick did something very different, very similar up in Ireland.
Yeah. Well, and that's any dominating culture throughout history. The conqueror would just pull in parts of the other culture's belief. Maybe some of it was because they believed that too, but it was mostly to pull in those practitioners of that old religion into the new religion. In many cases, the deities of conquered or neighboring religions were categorized as demons, even though transforming benevolent or neutral spirits into malicious figures. For example, the Christian devil is often depicted with horns and hooves, imagery borrowed from pagan horned deities. But you see this throughout history, like I said. In fact, every civilization would bring their own beliefs. So it's one of those things that, although it's demonized, in especially the Christian belief, it's happened before. It's not like we're recreating the wheel. This happens time and time again.
Right.
Now, I know your beliefs have changed over the years. How are you now compared to when you first came back to Christianity? Do you feel more tolerant towards a lot of the things that, like Halloween, Christmas, the stuff that we brought in from pagan religions?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely more tolerant of it. Obviously, I wasn't in the beginning. Yes, we shared those stories here before, but yeah, I'm definitely most tolerant. And some of the things I even practice myself, lighting bonfires, for example, on Halloween, is a great and fun tradition for myself. When I think of lighting the bonfire, it has nothing really to do with the holiday itself. It's just I get to enjoy it. But there are plenty of Christians out there also who not only refrain from lighting bonfires, they refrain from the holiday altogether. But even still, there are plenty of churches, at least that I know of in America, that will do this thing called trunk or treat. And typically it takes place earlier on Halloween, like morning or afternoon, or a week or two prior. And it's just a safe place for people, anybody, doesn't have to be Christians, anyone from around the city who wants to come trick or treat in the church parking lot. There are people who are open to maybe hearing a little bit about Jesus, maybe not. Thankfully, the churches that I know, the people that I know, are not, they're not so. I mean, part of me wants to say it's disrespecting to just, throw up Jesus on everybody. Again,
I don't want somebody throwing up Jesus on me. If you can throw up an entire person, you are of the devil.
Well, but what I mean is it goes back to last week's episode when we were talking about having, making sure that whoever you're talking to or trying to help, making sure that they consent, right? Mm-hmm. And so typically, at least in my church circle, my circle of friends, the people that I know through the church, they will always ask first non-believers if, hey, can I tell you a little bit about Jesus? Can I pray for you? Can I do this? Can I do that? And some people say no, and it is very like, I respect that. On with their day, enjoy, trunk or treat, get as much candy as you guys can, like have fun, mingle, etc., which is how it should be, regardless of the religion or the belief, right? But yeah, so definitely, I mean, I obviously participate in dressing up. It's something I enjoy doing. It's part of tradition as well. Um, I don't trick or treat anymore myself, but I just steal the candy from my nieces who trick or treat instead. Um, so there's probably some moral compass there that needs to be redirected a bit, but
Yeah, I feel you're a horrible human being.
Wow.
No, they should probably not be consuming all of that sugar. So it's probably a courtesy for you to do that for your sister, so that her kids aren't running all over.
The way I see it is I'm putting my life on the line, because that much sugar, it starts to take years away. You're saying,
yeah,
deteriorates the teeth, and I gotta sacrifice for them.
So you're about sacrifice now.
Okay, see, and this is how you twist words and cause issues. Okay, don't do what Justin just did. It's called division.
I'm just making an example. That's all.
Well, now well, hold on. What about you? I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, since my thoughts fall more on, I've followed Christianity, but I feel a lot of any major religion doesn't have it all right. So I don't see it being a bad thing that there were horned and hooved gods in pagan folklore and mythology. But I do see where it was kind of incorporated into the Christian faith, making that evil again as a way to bring people into Christianity and say, look, what you were doing was bad. This is the actual way.
Right.
Yeah. And I was just going to mention too, trunk or treat might be a little bit of a safer way to trick or treat in this day and age. I mean, you're going to find those weird sickos no matter what you're doing in today's day and age, but at least it's a community. It's all close, even more close than walking down the street. So I feel, trunk or treat is, although it's more a Christian practiced way to enjoy Halloween, you don't want to trust your kids going up to anybody's door because you may not see
these
them
days.
Again.
Yeah, it ain't like when we were growing up. I was just talking to a friend of mine how different things are since the 90s compared to 2025. And it's like, back then, you and I, we were outside all the time. We were doing something, we were playing, we were in the dirt, and now it's just like online, you can meet anybody. And I mean, some of I play Fortnite, and there's some weird people that I meet that I just like mute or hang, delete and block type things. It's like, it's weird, man. It's
I've
a weird
told
day.
you that's why I don't play online games, because I don't care what people have to say. I just want to play the game.
Right.
I mean, if you're trying to participate together, like build stuff together and be respectful, that's one thing. But a lot of people use it as a way to disrespect people and be crappy.
Right, for sure. So let's go ahead. We'll move on a little bit with this discussion here, though. So next up is medieval superstition. Now, the rise of ghost stories and witch lore in medieval culture was profoundly shaped by the Catholic Church's evolving doctrines on the afterlife and demonic forces. Now, while folklore and magic existed for centuries, the late Middle Ages saw the the codification of these beliefs into a formalized Christian framework that helped trigger the widespread witch hunts of the early modern period.
Now, early medieval ghost beliefs were complex and varied. Not that they're not today, but initially the church was hesitant to endorse the idea of ghosts, fearing it encouraged pagan veneration of the dead. Some early Christian thinkers considered all apparitions to be demons in disguise, intent on deceiving the faithful. However, as belief in ghosts or revenants persisted, the church integrated these folk beliefs into its own theology. And
Mhm.
we've had an episode on this before in the past. It was actually a UK English tradition to tell ghost stories during Christmas, even.
Right. Something else I just want to put out there is kind of like a fact check, if you will. There is nothing in the scripture that says ghosts and demons are one and the same. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that there's a clear divide between the two either. However, we can take some references from scripture, at least one or two, and suggest that ghosts and demons are two very different entities and that both exist. Whether or not a ghost can exist on this plane, obviously we have some sort of proof, right? All of us who have been in the paranormal community, we've done paranormal research, investigations, you probably have found something, caught some sort of evidence. But again, that is something that can't be scientifically replicated in most cases. Therefore, we can't say proof it's a ghost, right? It's an
Well,
anomaly.
I mean, same thing that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, the rapture.
Right.
There's no specific verbiage in the Bible that says we're going to be taken up into the heavens. That they call it rapture. There's just one specific text that people take as that's the rapture.
Right. And whether or not when or where that rapture takes place, I mean, obviously we don't know the when. Jesus is very clear on that. But what the rapture exactly is and what it represents, who's taken, et cetera, that's really what's held up in the air right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, with that said, regarding ghosts, many of you know the story of Jesus walking on water. Whether you're a Christian or not, you probably know the story. And so there is a part of the story where Jesus is walking out on water, and Peter looks out and says, "Look, it's a ghost." And Jesus does not condemn him. He does not say ghosts are not real. He doesn't say, "No, you're thinking demons and I'm not one." He just says, basically, "Look, I am not a ghost. It is me, Jesus." And that's the end of it, which means that Jesus very clearly, I think, believed or knows that ghosts do exist to some extent. And the fact that Peter had thought he was a ghost and wasn't condemned for it could theoretically kind of give us purpose to believe that ghosts do exist and they are separate from demons. So there's a whole lot that goes into the theology behind ghosts, spirits, demons, entities, etc. And that's something we've talked a little bit a few weeks back about it, but that can go very much deeper into a whole new episode. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because there are plenty of people who think that all spirits are demonic spirits, unless they're from heaven, or all ghosts are demons that are just portraying humanity in spirit form and trying to pretend to be something they're not and deceiving people. And I was one who thought that for a while until I started learning more about theology and understanding the Word of God more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and again, I've commended you a lot of times for you growing not just in your faith, but your understanding of the teachings that you follow and being more considerate of other people.
Right.
He's getting all choked up, guys. Look at
that. Sometimes, like when I take these like rabbit trails, I'm like, do I just jump right back into where we left off? There's got to be some sort of like clean transition, right? Like, how do I? But yeah, I don't have one, so we're just gonna break right off back into it. So when it comes to witchcraft, and you guys, for those of you who tuned in last week, you learned quite a bit about witch bottles and the idea behind witchcraft. But when it comes to medieval understanding of witchcraft, it too also shifted dramatically over time. For most of the Middle Ages, the church regarded folk magic and sorcery as harmless, if nothing else but misguided superstition. A true threat was heresy, not magical practice. And the witch figure as we know it today, however, was largely invented in the late medieval period.
Soul cakes were small, spiced cakes baked and distributed by wealthier families to the poor during All Souls Day, November 22nd, in exchange for
November
prayers.
2nd, not
I'm sorry,
22nd.
November 2nd. In exchange for prayers for the souls of the dead, representing an early form of trick or treating called souling. I mean, soul cakes, souling makes sense.
Mhm.
You're praying for the dead, for their souls. This practice evolved into guising, which children would dress up and perform songs or poems for treats, leading to the modern trick or treat custom, which further developed from those traditions rooted in Britain and Ireland. I say bring that back. Make these kids work for their candy, not just trick or treat.
Right, 100%. Glad if that happens, I'm glad it's happening now and not during our time when we were out there trick or treating. So
We'll just pick it outside everybody's home. Bring it back. Bring guising back.
that's the thing. That's when Halloween goes political and kids are like on the doorstep.
Make Halloween great again.
Jeez. Oh, you just ruined our episode. No. So, with that said, leading to, the idea that children would dress up and perform songs or poems or treats, leading to the modern trick or treat custom, it eventually did give birth to modern Halloween, what we more or less know today. Now, Irish immigrants had brought the tradition of carving jack o' lanterns from root vegetables like turnips to America in the 19th century, but found pumpkins native to North America to be larger and more readily available. Of course, the easier to carve pumpkins quickly replaced turnips as the preferred choice, making the pumpkin the iconic symbol of Halloween jack o' lanterns today. Now, the origin of carving jack o' lanterns started to ward off evil spirits and were based on the Irish folktale of Stingy Jack, who basically tricked the devil one too many times, three in total to be exact. And instead of, taking Stingy Jack's soul into hell, and instead of God saying, "Come on up to heaven," because he was denied, God denied him going to heaven, the devil gave him a turnip with a coal inside so that Jack would wander the realms, the veil basically, for eternity, lone, cold, and indefinitely.
Yeah, and we've done a couple episodes about Stingy Jack on ParaTruth Radio. So if you want to hear the full story of it, because we do read it on air, make sure you check out those episodes. Just Google ParaTruth Radio or type it in. Just type in ParaTruth. You'll find both shows.
Yeah, you can click on our website and in our search bar, just hit Stingy Jack. Type Stingy Jack. You'll find it that way too.
Yeah. And the interesting part is I had never heard of the story of Stingy Jack until we actually had done those episodes. It was just common practice, so I never questioned where did this come from.
Right. I mean, but some of those episodes that we did were very early on as well, like in terms of our podcasting career.
Right.
Many of those. So we did like a lot of these episodes way back on Night Stalkers. Night Stalkers. That's all it was, right? What was the name?
Yeah, Night Stalkers.
Yeah, it wasn't Night Stalkers Radio. Oh, Paranormal Radio. Okay. So man, it's been so. My mind is starting. That's how long it's been. Now it's just like, wait, what is that? Like what? But yeah, back then we were still learning a lot of this stuff, and I mean, we were learning a lot of this stuff strictly for the show. But yeah, what I find very interesting though is the Stingy Jack story in particular has always remained the same, but there have been very slight iterations of it throughout the last 15 years or so. Very minor changes, but changes nonetheless. And of course, we see that with most stories when it comes to the mythical and the magical in particular.
And if you want to see a kind of continuation of the story of Stingy Jack, I wrote one that I'm going to be putting into a short story collection of my own. I'll let you guys know when that's out, because I thought it was a really, really interesting one where Sinji Jack actually tricks somebody else to take on the curse.
Hmm.
And I loved that story. So, but back to what we're talking about here. Now, Mischief Night, or you may also know it as Devil's Night, which was first documented in the 1930s, is a night of pranks before Halloween, evolving from harmless fun to serious vandalism in some areas, but also prompting community programs like Angels Night. Modern Halloween traditions, including elaborate trick or treating, costume parties with themes and contests, spooky decorations, and themed events at museums and clubs. One thing I remember growing up is, again, I had never heard of Devil's Night until I saw the
Mhm.
movie The Crow,
Mm.
and the gangs were practicing Devil's Night to cause mayhem and destruction in the movie. But I had never heard the word Devil's Night until I watched that movie.
Right. I feel like, like Mischief Night and Devil's Night. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, even to this day, there's a lot of mischief, right? Toilet papering people's properties, smashing pumpkins, et cetera, et cetera. I will say that I don't mind it so much that there have been some community programs that tried to revamp it to Angels Night and do something kind. Uh, I would prefer to see that rather than what it feels like it's going toward here in America, which is Purge Night. Um, so hopefully we don't see that.
Yeah.
Spooky decorations and themed events at museums. Obviously, there's plenty of that still happening today. There's a show that I watch every year called Halloween Wars. I love watching that show every Halloween. All the houses, well, most houses tend, I don't know, is it most? A lot of houses decorate for Halloween, exterior and interior. But I will say that it seems to be a dying breed. It's not as extravagant as it was when we were kids growing up. The streets were filled with people trick or treating. Every house had lights and decorations and scary events. Nowadays, you go out on Halloween night and it's silent. You see a handful of children walking, and that's about it. At least in my area, in Cleveland in particular.
Oh, here too, and it kind of is almost reminiscent of the dark days of
Mm-hmm.
Halloween, so it is a little scary.
Right, definitely. Now, in the 20th century, something crazy happened, right? This is probably the most important part of Halloween nowadays for any child, and myself,
Yeah.
who's also a child. Um, but that is that the candy companies capitalized on Halloween's rising popularity by aggressively marketing individually wrapped, mass produced sweets as a convenient and safe option for trick or treating. It was a post World War II economic boom. The lifting of sugar rationing and public fears over tampered treats cemented candy's central role in the holiday. Before the 1950s, trick or treaters typically received homemade items such as cakes, cookies, fruit, or nuts. And it's not the first time that we see um, candy companies or just companies in general capitalizing on holidays,
Over a holiday, yeah.
right? We see the same thing on Christmas with Coke and the drink, not the drug.
Though the drug was in the drink for some time.
Which I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm sorry. I don't know. These things pop into my mind and I just speak them. I shouldn't. Get us booted. But then also Valentine's Day is a very big commercial holiday for some lame reason.
Well, and I love how it says a more convenient and safe option because when we were kids, and I'm sure it's probably still a something to look out today, but you would get the warning of have your parents check all of your candy or goodies because there might be razor blades in the candied
My
apples.
parents did it. My parents
Oh yeah,
always went through our bags before we could eat anything.
right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure mine did too. But it's like in the 1930s, and again, that was a completely different era compared to when we were growing up. So back then, it might have been a little more safe, and then it just took a downhill spiral
Right.
when we were born.
Well, and then on top of that, you have to consider like the actual events in which there was something dangerous hidden within treats was probably pretty slim and very rare. But those very rare occasions kind of blew up. They hit, if they were in mass media today, the whole world would know about it and everyone would be checking in candy, right? Back then it was all word of mouth, the news, etc. So something like even just one time is enough to create widespread fear. And we all know how quickly fear likes to grip hold of a person, a community, an entire country, and so on and so forth. So, the fact that something that probably didn't happen very much still stemmed over into our childhood in the 90s, in which our parents are still checking our candy. Today, no one really looks at candy anymore. Like my sister does not check her nieces or my niece's candy as often. Like maybe just a couple things here or there, if it seems a little suspicious. But typically, it's like, oh, it's fine, eat it. The fear's not there anymore. But that also has to do with the generation changing, I think.
Well, and maybe it was even back when we were kids, but today, I mean, candy wrappers, even though they may look safe, may still be laced with a type of drug, poison, So how you would even notice that, even if you are looking through candy,
Right.
unless it has an odor to it. I mean, possible. Yeah, it's a little hard to determine unless you see a hole, like you said, you don't detect tampering, so it's like,
Right.
it's probably okay. Now, do old Samhain beliefs still resonate today? Yes, of course they do. Many ancient beliefs and traditions associated with Samhain still resonate today, both in modern paganism and in the broader culture through contemporary Halloween celebrations. We've talked about it throughout the entire episode. The original themes of honoring the dead, marking the end of the harvest, and navigating the transition into winter continue to find expression, though in evolved forms. Like Erik mentioned, we've got the jack o' lantern instead of bonfires, candies instead of cakes and other sweet treats. So it's definitely evolved, but we're still practicing it without realizing we're practicing Samhain.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I will say that there's nothing quite like sitting outside around a fire on Halloween night. It
Oh,
is
for sure.
literally, I mean, everyone knows Halloween's our favorite time of year, but it is literally my favorite time, like night of the year, just for the fact that I'm like, I think what's particularly special to me. And this isn't probably something that crosses most people's mind, but because of our community here, because of the show, I will often sit, around a fire on Halloween night and actually think about the origins of Samhain and think about the history and all the things that happened. And there's just something that is just literally, I guess, I wouldn't say literally, but it feels like the spirit of Halloween, right? Like the spirit of Christmas.
Mhm.
It's just there in the air. It's thick with it. And it's not a bad feeling. Like for me, it's like something that I kind of like, I mean, lack of a better term, enjoy in the sense of the historical significance of it.
Right. Yeah. No, and although New Year's is the official end of the year, I have always felt Halloween is kind of that precursor moment. And it kind of makes you reflect on the entire year, not just history itself.
Mm-hmm. With that said, I'm kind of looking forward to Halloween this year. So, of course, we have candy. We have, you know, songish things, trick or treats. We have kids dressing up, et cetera, et cetera. But what is one thing that is very heightened on Halloween that we have yet to discuss, but yet is very prominent to the season itself? There have been reports of heightened paranormal activity around Halloween which stem from the cultural association of the holiday with ghosts and spirits, which creates a heightened expectation for the supernatural. And I think that's something very important to think about here, because every year there are uh, both professionals and amateurs alike who go out the week of Halloween and on Halloween to do paranormal investigations with the belief that they are going to actually see more things, encounter more spirits because of the thinning of the veil, right?
Mhm.
However, there is a very good chance that some of these events are actually increased due to psychological factors. The thinning of the veil between the living and the dead in folklore is one thing, but when you have your mind set on actually seeing something, there's a chance that your mind allows yourself to see it. Now, whether or not what you're seeing is real or fake, one can, you can only do so much. You can only believe so much, or see or learn, or whatever. If you catch it on film, on camera, on audio, that's one thing to help. But there is this general aspect where, because many people believe the veil is thinnest around Halloween, we just naturally see more things because we trick our minds into seeing more things.
Right.
Um, Now, with that said, the thinning of the veil between the living and the dead in folklore, and a shared fascination with fear and death, people's expectations and fear of ghosts can influence their perception of ambiguous events, making them more likely to interpret them as paranormal, even if they're not. And I'm one that kind of does that year round. Like, why is my cat looking at the corner of the house and there's nothing there? I
Oh,
start
me too.
talking to the thing,
Yeah,
right? Like, why
100%.
you get out, whatever you are, get out of here. Which, by the way, um, I'll talk to you after this, but this is at this point a few weeks later, as of this recording. But last night, that is the night prior to this recording, I went and saw Good Boy. How many of y'all saw Good Boy in theater? Let us know. I'm curious. But for those of you who don't know, Good Boy is a horror movie that is fully through the perspective of a dog. Uh, and it was phenomenal. It was wonderful. And it was an independent film that took 3 years to film. And they used a dog who was not an actor. It was the director's own dog. And at the end of the movie, they actually do a little bit of a behind the scenes to show how they got the dog to act, which in reality was not the dog acting at all, which was really fun to watch. It was really fun to watch. Just the way they did it, and then you realize, uh, just based on how they edited things, like the dog had looked like he was scared. He looked very serious. He looked concerned, but in reality, he wasn't at all. When you take like the actual scene versus the take behind the scenes, it's like, here's something scary happening, in the movie, and this dog looks scared, but in reality, they're honking horns and making cute, funny noises to get the dog's reaction. And it's like,
Oh,
oh, and I forget the just something. I learned it about it in school. I forget the name of it, but it's basically, if you take someone with just a normal, like, blank expression on their face, right? And then you cut to a picture of a Christmas present, right? People will think that that person looking at the Christmas present is excited. Take that same image of that person, and this time cut to a person in a coffin. And now people think this person looks sad. But the expression didn't change at all. The only thing that changed was the perspective that the people were seeing, which naturally made them believe they were seeing a certain expression from a person who had no expression at all. And that's how they ended up doing this movie a lot with the dog. The dog's expression never changed, but the things he was seeing did for the audience. Anyway, I know that was another rabbit trail, super unique. I loved it. If you haven't seen Good Boy, you should definitely check it out. I love indie films, and that was a good one.
well, I mean, it kind of ties in. This is the time of year that most people watch horror movies,
Mm-hmm.
and you're a movie maker. Like,
Well, yeah.
although it was a rabbit trail, it at least ties in to what we're talking about. One thing I'll say about what you just mentioned, with it possibly being psychological,
Mhm.
we talked about this last week, where intention, and I brought up, Eric was talking about OCD, and I brought up that some people might get overly uh, obsessed over something and just constantly think about it, which causes an intention or a manifestation, if you will, in this particular context. People are going to always be thinking about ghosts, spirits, monsters during this time of year. So long as you don't fixate on it, I would say please don't fixate on it, because you can cause something to attach to you. Whether you believe the veil is thinnest at this time of year or not, I mean, we've talked about it for years and years and years. There's always entities, spirits. You don't have to move into a haunted house. These things can move around freely. Obviously, they either were once human if it's a ghost, or a spirit can walk through walls to entities. I mean, because they're not corporeal like we are.
Right.
So I mean, just be aware of, oh, that noise. It was just the water heater kicking on, or it was just the air heater kicking on. Debunk before you just rush to conclusions.
100%.
What I'm going at.
Rushing to conclusions has never helped anybody.
Look at the
in general
trials.
Yeah.
Tying it back to this time of year.
Yeah.
But looking back, I mean, we've kind of reflected a little bit through this episode, but what are some of the things that you wish you could see now that you don't see anymore during Halloween? Or when we were growing up?
I would say probably some of the traditional Halloween commercials, really. Like, maybe they do exist. How many people have regular TV anymore? Like cable? Not me. I've not seen cable God knows how long.
Older generations still do, but
but otherwise it's all like Netflix and anything that streams. So you don't see those type of commercials.
Right.
So that's something I definitely miss. On top of that, I think it's just the feeling has changed. Like I used to wake up, be excited to get dressed, wear my costume all day at school, come home, do whatever I got to do before I get to go trick or treating. It was exciting. And that excitement really kind of left, I think, for me and probably for a lot of people in their 30s and 40s or higher. So that is something that I definitely wish would come back. Just the nostalgia would come back more prominently than there already is.
I mean, I'm sure you can find a lot of those old commercials on YouTube.
It ain't the same. It ain't the same, man. I don't want it to find them. I want them to find me.
Well, I personally don't pay extra to have commercials cut out of my streaming, so I will actually still see commercials on some of my streaming platforms. Maybe find the ones that are not the extra paid where you can skip commercials, and you'll see some.
Yeah, maybe. But no, I think other than that is just seeing more people actually trick or treating. Enjoying the holiday for what it is modernly. A night to go out, have some fun, get some candy. And honestly, modern days, no one cares if you're 30 years old and getting candy. To be honest, there'll be words said. I know that for a fact, but
it's usually, aren't you a little old to be trick-or-treating?
Yeah, well, sometimes it's not even to them. It's just behind their back. Like, that person was like definitely 40. Why are they taking this candy? And I know that from experience. I didn't say that, but I know individuals who have said
I remember as a high schooler going around, and people would get upset that we were still trick-or-treating. It's like, I'm not 18 yet. Like, let me enjoy it while I still can.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like, I recall, like nowadays, like you wake up Halloween morning, it's like, man, it's another day that happens to be Halloween. But when we were kids, you wake up and the whole atmosphere changed. You woke up into a whole new world the morning of Halloween. It's like, dude, it's Halloween. It's the day, not another day, And maybe it's just me. Maybe I just kind of lost that over time. But I feel like a lot of people could probably meet me on that.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was stressful for our parents during that time because it's like, we got to get these kids dressed. And especially as time went on, you could dress up to go to school. So you were not just dressing up in the evening, you were dressing up to go to school.
But with that said, if you're done, I don't want to cut you off, even though I did.
No, that was just my main point. Is it could still be stressful?
Well, yeah, for sure. Thinking back, what was your favorite costume you've ever worn for Halloween?
I have two.
Okay.
One was I was in middle school. And my mom had literally made a Wolfman costume for me. Nice. Glued the hair on my hands, on my face. I don't remember if I had fangs. I'm pretty sure I did. I just wore kind of like the vampire fangs, as werewolf fangs. And it was, hands down, that's my top. And Mom, if you're watching this, thank you for always doing things like that when I was a kid, because again, and in this day and age, a lot of times people are just buying costumes. My mom made a lot of costumes for us. I don't remember if your mom made costumes for you guys.
I don't think so. And if she's listening and has, then you're
gonna get a thrashing later.
No, we were usually pretty good at like kind of customizing our own costumes most of the time, but we did have a couple costumes made, not by Mom, but by Aunt Lenore.
Okay. The other one that I vividly remember is when I lived in New Jersey. I had decorated. I really want to get back into decorating for Halloween. But I had decorated the outside of the house, had put this dummy out there with a Frankenstein mask and, Frankenstein clothes on and stuff.
And like it wasn't Justin wearing a costume
at the time. No, but then I put that costume on, sat back where that dummy was sitting.
Oh, yes.
It was so cold that day that my hands were like ice cold. It felt like dead flesh. And I had kids coming up, touching me like, is it real? Oh, is it real? And they touch my hand. Oh, no, it's not real. It's cold. And I would jump. And the one neighbor kid, I laughed because he was a good kid, but he was super annoying. I jumped and roared, and this kid, I had never seen him move faster from our porch to his house. I'd say in like 2 seconds. So that's why that's my second one, because it turned out perfect.
Yeah,
that my hands were that cold that people thought it was still a dummy.
I did something very similar as a werewolf mask, and had like some many layers on to be stuffed up. And a similar situation happened where people would ask, and I would just like flinch or just like slowly move toward little kids, right? And they'd be scared. But there was this one high school girl this is after I was out of high school. So I was sitting on the porch or in this chair, and this one high school group comes up, and one of the girls is like asking my dad if I was real, and my dad didn't say, so she would like poke me in places. And she's like, he's definitely real, I think, and then go back and poke, and like I wouldn't move. And so finally she went to touch me again. And as she did, I like flinched, and she jumped back and screamed and made it like halfway down my driveway, and then stopped and made the poor decision to taunt me and say, you would never catch me, Mr. Werewolf. I chased this girl literally more than halfway down the street. In the middle of the street, this high school girl is screaming, and there's this werewolf trailing her the entire way. She didn't come back. Nope. One of the best nights of my life. I love scaring kids. Wait, what? Yeah. But my favorite costume was one that our Aunt Lenore made me, and it was a Velociraptor. She made it from scratch. Had a full tail, had like a head hood that was all stuffed, and had eyes and teeth and stuff like that. Clawed hands, like a full suit. Man, it was by far my number one favorite costume, and I still have it up in my parents' attic. But yeah, that was by far. There's been a lot of cool costumes I did, but that one was it was very special, just in general. But at the
Right.
time, I also loved dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, so that
I
hit.
mean, has that really changed?
Not really. It more so morphed into Godzilla. But yeah, I still love my T Rex rappers.
So turned into a more powerful dinosaur.
I'm more powerful. That's what I realized that like last year. I was like, why do I like Godzilla? And then I realized, oh, he's just a super strong dinosaur who has nuclear powers. Okay,
Right.
makes sense.
Um, yeah, I truly miss decorating for Halloween, and I just like a lot of things. I just got to make myself to have the time to do it.
Right.
It's one of those things that's still really important to me today. I just let life get in the way, and I really need to change that.
Mm.
Um, I, the funny thing is, I don't think I would ever hand out candy again. I just want to decorate.
Yeah.
And maybe that's part of the change too. It's not just less trick or treaters, but maybe people are fearful of handing out candy too, just
Could be.
because hoodlums, parents that are being jerks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to do that again. It was my favorite thing to do every year. Trying to think if there's anything else that I would love to do again for Halloween.
I mean, I'm with you on the decorating. Like I used to decorate my front yard. Like I was legit always the scariest house on the block. And I remember one year I came home from high school, and my neighbor, he used to work for RTA. He would rebuild or build bus shelters. And he was working near a funeral home one of the days. And I came home, and in my driveway was a silver casket that he found in the back of a funeral home they'd brought home from me. And that thing, like people were scared because I put like, like a vampire hand in there and closed it and then had strobe light on it. So it always mimicked some sort of movement.
Okay.
But that was just one of my scariest yards. Like I always had it decked out to the brim. But that casket was a lot of fun too, because my sisters and I would close each other in it and push each other around on the wheels and spin each other and stuff. Who would have thought that you'd have fun in a casket in a deathbed, right?
Well, last question before we start to wrap it up here, and I think it's the same one I ask you every year, but by far your favorite Halloween candy?
Oh man, that's tough actually this year.
Has it changed?
It does change. It changes. I'm gonna have to go with Butterfinger. I'll go Butterfinger this year for sure. It has changed over the years because it used to be Twix, then it turned into Three Musketeer, the Milky Way. But Butterfinger has been pretty strong last. And it's always chocolate for Halloween. Like I love fruity candy more than chocolate, but for Halloween there's something just Reese's, Kit Kat, Milky Ways, Three Musketeer, Butterfingers. Those are like staples,
right.
for Halloween.
Right. I mean, by far my favorite candy bar. It has not changed over as long as I remember eating candy, and that's a Kit Kat.
Right on.
But after meeting Shelly, candy corn has become a second for Halloween at least. And I mean, you guys can judge me for that. That's fine.
I personally like candy corn. I never used to, but I enjoy it.
Oh, and maybe it's, taste buds change over time too. Yeah. Cause when I was younger, I hated candy corn. I'm like, get this out of here. It's nothing but flavored wax to me.
Right.
Which it's not. It's confectioner sugar, but
right.
still. Um, but yeah, candy corn by far is on the top for me.
Right.
Um, so we would love to hear your guys's reflections. What is your favorite Halloween costume that you've worn, either while you were growing up or as an adult? Favorite Halloween candy, favorite Halloween activity. One I don't think I've ever done is bobbing for apples, mostly
I,
because I'm afraid of drowning. So,
that's fair. That's fair. I mean, heaven forbid you drown in a bucket of apples. That'd
hey,
be,
I mean, somebody could just randomly be a jerk and try to hold my head
yeah.
underwater.
And then you could drown and choke at the same time.
Exactly.
Wild.
Um, but yeah, tell us in the comments or email us. Send us a voicemail on our website. It's one of those things where I think we can all come together for Halloween or any holidays that we grew up enjoying in the U.S. as kids.
Mhm.
So just a kind of a quick recap. Halloween kind of started because of the practice of Samhain. The reason it's dark origins is because back then we mentioned ritual sacrifice. There were times that was human sacrifice during the time of the Celtic religions and Gaelic religions, or practices.
Mhm.
But there was animal sacrifice as well, which in today's day and age could be considered dark because we don't do animal sacrifice either anymore.
Well, most of us don't.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, it changed from something from a pagan tradition or religious rite to what we know today. And it's one of those things that you want to remember history because it's important, mostly so that way we don't repeat it.
Right.
But next week we're going to be talking to Shonda Parkinson about her book, The Book of Ritual Baths. And I'm going to love this one because that's actually where I meditate the most, is in the bath or shower too. But a common practice for me over the past several years is a salt bath. So this will be kind of an interesting one. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. No matter where you watch, listen, get in on the conversation. Let us know what you guys think. Without you guys, we don't have a show. So I really would love to see some more engagement from you all, just because it helps us as a podcast. Not just that we're getting engagement, but we love to chit chat. So, again, this has been a pre-recorded show on 107.7 FM New Orleans, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast, and United Public Radio Network. Check out all the great shows that we have on there. I will say happy Halloween to all of you. Enjoy the spooky season. Don't get caught up on all of the horrible things that can happen, because if you get caught up on that, somehow it may possibly do so. Be happy, be fruitful, be safe during this time of year. But until next week, where you'll find us same time, same channel. My name is Justin.
And I'm Erik. Peace and happy Halloween.